Hello, my name is Zachary Shore, and today I will be teaching Task E, Airplane Flight Controls. The objective of this is to determine that the student exhibits knowledge of the elements related to the airplane flight controls by describing the purpose, location, direction of movement, effect, and proper procedure for the use of primary flight controls, secondary flight controls, and trim controls. With that, we will start off with the primary flight controls. So there we have primary. The first one we will go over are the ailerons. So the ailerons operate on the longitudinal axis. What the ailerons do is cause you to roll when you're in flight. So that is basically the yoke. So when you turn the yoke left or right, your ailerons are going up or down, causing you to roll one way or the other. The kinds of ailerons that we have on our airplanes are called differential ailerons. Those are the ones we have. So basically what that means is one aileron doesn't go up or down as much as the other aileron goes up or down. So one goes less or more than the other one. So what that helps with is the effects of adverse yaw. So if you have two ailerons both going up and down, deflecting the same amount of degrees, then you're going to have more drag, and it's going to cause the airplane to yaw one way, more so than if you had two ailerons that don't deflect the same amount. It's going to cause less of that drag and reduce the effects of adverse yawing of the aircraft. So that's basically what ailerons are. Those are the type we have, and that's what they do and how they control the aircraft. So the next one we'll go over is the rudder. So the rudder operates on the vertical axis, and what the rudder does is controls the yawing movement side to side of the aircraft. So use your rudder pedals on the ground to steer the aircraft, to steer the nose wheel when you're taxiing, takeoff, all those kinds of things. The rudder is very useful in flight to keep coordinated flight. So one example of this would be when you're climbing, you're going to have some very pronounced left turning tendencies, so you're going to want to use a lot of right rudder to keep that coordinated and not kind of float off to the left. Or if you're just in flight and you're doing turns, a lot of, maybe some steep turns or something like that, you're going to want to use rudder to stay coordinated and keep a nice, steady, even turn going. So that's basically what the rudder does and how it functions. So the next one we will go over is the stabilator. So the stabilator is the horizontal airfoil on the tail of the aircraft right below where the rudder and the tail is. So this is basically a top view of what a stabilator looks like. And what that does is control whether you want to ascend or descend. So it'll deflect up and down, and you use your yoke, push forward or pull back, and that's what moves the stabilator. So the stabilator basically means this whole thing right here, because this is opposed to an elevator, this whole thing right here moves up or down, depending on what your inputs are on the yoke. Whereas an elevator, we would cut that in half. This top portion right here would be stationary, and this bottom portion would be hanging off. So it kind of look like this. So a stabilator is nice and even. On an elevator, that back half is going to hang down like this. So that's the main difference. We have a stabilator on our aircraft, not an elevator. And like I said, that controls your basically your pitch attitude if you want to climb or descend. And the axis that works on, like I said, is the lateral axis. So that's basically it for the primary flight controls. So the next thing we will go over are the secondary flight controls. So we only have a couple secondary flight controls. So the first one we'll go over are the flaps.